The rain drummed against the coffee shop window as Sarah traced circles on the steamed glass, watching the world blur into watercolor streaks. 3 years. 3 years since she'd last seen him. Yet her heart still quickened at every dark-haired stranger who walked past. She pulled her cardigan tighter, the memory of his touch still ghosting across her skin. Another coffee? The barista's voice cut through her reverie. Sarah shook her head, her eyes drifting to the corner table where they used to sit for hours, lost in each other's words, in each other's dreams. Where Marcus had first told her he loved her, his green eyes intense with promise. The bell above the door chimed and Sarah's breath caught. As if summoned by her thoughts, Marcus stood in the doorway, rain droplets clinging to his leather jacket. Time seemed to fracture, 3 years collapsing into nothing. He was broader now, more angular, but those eyes, those devastating green eyes, remained unchanged. Their gazes locked across the crowded cafe. Sarah felt her pulse hammering against her throat as he approached, moving with that familiar confident stride that had always made her weak. Sarah. Her name fell from his lips like a prayer, rough with emotion. Marcus. She couldn't trust herself to say more. He slid into the chair across from her, the same chair he'd occupied countless times before. You look beautiful, he said softly, and she hated how her heart fluttered at his words. What are you doing here? She asked, fighting to keep her voice steady. I heard about your engagement. The words hung heavy between them. To David. Sarah's fingers instinctively twisted the diamond ring on her finger. How did you? Does it matter? Marcus leaned forward, his voice dropping to that intimate tone that used to make her melt. Tell me you love him the way you loved me. The challenge in his voice ignited something dangerous in her chest. That's not fair, isn't it? You're about to marry someone else, Sarah. I think I deserve to know if what we had meant anything to you. What we had, as if it were just a phase, a chapter that had closed. Sarah felt anger rise like bile in her throat. You left, Marcus. You chose her. I made a mistake. A mistake. Sarah's voice cracked. You called off our engagement 2 weeks before our wedding to go back to your ex-wife. You destroyed me and you call it a mistake. Marcus ran his hands through his hair, the gesture achingly familiar. I was confused. Rebecca said she was pregnant, that she needed me. And what happened to that baby, Marcus? What happened to Rebecca? Sarah's words were sharp as glass. The pain that flashed across his face was answer enough. She lied. About everything. The pregnancy, wanting me back, it was all manipulation. By the time I realized you were gone. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the old wounds tear open. She remembered the nights she'd cried herself to sleep, the days she'd barely been able to function. David's patient kindness had been the only thing that pulled her from that darkness. I looked for you, Marcus continued, his voice breaking. I went to your apartment, your office. Your friend Emma said you'd moved, wouldn't tell me where. Because I asked her not to. Sarah opened her eyes, meeting his gaze. I couldn't see you again, Marcus. I couldn't survive it. But you survived anyway. You found someone else. I found someone who won't break my heart. Someone safe, Marcus said, the word dripping with disdain. Yes. Sarah lifted her chin defiantly. Someone safe, someone reliable, someone who won't abandon me for another woman. Marcus reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers. The contact sent electricity shooting up her arm. Sarah, what we had, it was real. It was everything. You can't tell me you don't still feel it. She jerked her hand away, but not before she saw the triumph in his eyes. He'd felt her tremor, her body's betrayal. I'm getting married in 2 weeks, she said firmly, to a man you don't love. I do love David, but not the way you love me. The truth of it hit her like a physical blow. Even now, even after everything, Marcus could unravel her with a look, a touch, a word. David was gentle, kind, steady, everything Marcus wasn't. With David, she felt safe, cherished, content. But she'd never felt the wild, consuming passion she'd shared with Marcus. She'd convinced herself that was for the best. Love isn't enough, she whispered. It's everything. Not when it hurts this much. Marcus stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. Come with me. What? Right now. Leave with me. We'll go anywhere you want. Paris, Italy, that little cottage in Ireland you used to dream about. Just say yes. Sarah stared at him in shock. You're insane. I'm desperate. He pulled her to her feet, his hands warm and strong on her arms. I've spent 3 years trying to forget you, trying to convince myself I could live without you. I can't, Sarah. I'm dying without you. Her resolve wavered as she looked into his eyes, seeing the raw vulnerability there. This was the man who had owned her heart completely, who had made her believe in forever. My wedding. Forget the wedding. Forget David. He'll be fine. He'll find someone who can love him the way he deserves. But you and I, Sarah, were meant to be together. You know it. Sarah felt herself being pulled into his orbit again, the way she always had been. Marcus had always been her weakness, her addiction. One touch from him could erase years of healing, of building a safe, stable life. I can't, she breathed, but her body was already betraying her, swaying toward him. You can. His hands moved to frame her face, thumbs stroking her cheekbones. I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve another chance. But I swear to you, Sarah, I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I will never let you doubt my love again. The cafe around them seemed to fade away. It was just them, suspended in this moment of possibility. Sarah could feel herself falling, the way she always fell for Marcus, completely, recklessly, despite every rational thought screaming at her to run. Marcus, she whispered. He leaned down, his forehead touching hers. Say yes. Please, baby. Say yes. The endearment nearly broke her. She could smell his cologne, feel the warmth of his breath on her lips. It would be so easy to surrender, to let herself be swept away by the storm of emotion between them. But then she thought of David, patient and kind, waiting for her at home with Chinese takeout and wedding magazines. David, who had picked up the pieces of her shattered heart and helped her put them back together. David, who deserved better than a wife who would always wonder about the man who got away. I can't, she said again, stepping back. The loss of his warmth felt like a physical wound. Sarah. No. She held up her hand, the diamond catching the light. I won't do this again. I won't let you destroy me again. I'm not trying to destroy you. I'm trying to save us both. There is no us, Marcus. There hasn't been for 3 years. Then why are you crying? Sarah reached up, surprised to find tears streaming down her cheeks. Because I loved you. God help me. I loved you so much it nearly killed me. But love isn't enough when it comes with this much pain. Marcus looked stricken. Sarah, please. I'm marrying David. Her voice was stronger now, more certain. He's a good man and he loves me. Maybe it's not the kind of love that sets the world on fire, but it's the kind that keeps you warm. It's the kind that stays. She turned to leave, but Marcus caught her wrist. If you walk away now, that's it, he said desperately. I won't come back again. I won't fight for you anymore. Sarah looked back at him, memorizing his face one last time. I know. This is your choice, Sarah. Choose me. Choose us. Choose the love that could change everything. For a heartbeat, she wavered. The future stretched before her in 2 divergent paths. Safety with David, or the wild unknown with Marcus. Her heart screamed at her to choose passion, to choose the love that had defined her. But her mind, scarred by betrayal and abandonment, chose differently. I choose peace, she whispered. She pulled free of his grip and walked toward the door, not allowing herself to look back. Behind her, she heard the sound of a chair falling, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. Outside, the rain had intensified, soaking through her cardigan within seconds. Sarah stood on the sidewalk, letting the water wash away her tears. Her phone buzzed with a text from David. Hope your day was good. Can't wait to see you tonight. Love you. Simple words. Safe words. Words that didn't make her heart race or her hand shake, but words that promised constancy, reliability, a future without devastation. Sarah typed back, love you too. See you soon. She walked to her car, her heels clicking against the wet pavement. As she drove away, she caught a glimpse of Marcus through the coffee shop window, slumped in his chair, head in his hands. The image burned itself into her memory, another scar to add to her collection. That night, as David showed her paint samples for their future home's nursery, Sarah smiled and nodded at all the right moments. She let him pull her close on the couch, let him kiss her temple while they watched TV. But part of her remained in that coffee shop, suspended in the moment before everything could have changed. Some loves are meant to consume you. Some are meant to save you. Sarah had chosen salvation over destruction, stability over chaos. As she lay in bed that night, David's arm around her waist, she told herself she'd made the right choice. But in her dreams, she ran away with Marcus to that cottage in Ireland, where the rain drummed against windows that looked out on endless green fields, and love was worth any price. The morning after her wedding, Sarah would wake to find a single red rose on her doorstep with a note. For the love that never had a chance. M. She would keep the rose pressed between the pages of her wedding album, a secret reminder of the path not taken, the love that burned too bright to last but too deep to ever truly die.